and welcome to another Lawn Fawn video. Today we are so excited to be introducing our brand new stamp set, Silly Goose, and its coordinating dies and its coloring stencils. We are also going to be introducing the Silly Goose Sentiment Add-on Stamp Set, which has super cute sentiments that you can add on to the Silly Goose stamp set to make the cutest cards. We're also going to be taking a look at our Woodgrain stencil, and the stencil is so beautiful and adds that perfect wood grain texture. So let's go ahead and check all of these out. First up, we're going to take a look at the Silly Goose stamp set, and this stamp set is so super cute. It has the most adorable geese. We have a little mama goose reading to her baby goose, which is so adorable. A very exciting goose that looks like he's just doing a big honk. We have a goose looking down at the ground and a goose standing, and then of course we have these cute little baby geese that you can add in to create the cutest scenes. We also have some really fun seam builder items. So we have this cute nest with an egg, and then we have a separate egg too. This little sign says Mother Goose Story Time, and I think it's so sweet. And then we also have a stack of books, and we have a separate book as well, and it's got some cute phrases that you can stamp inside it that I'll show you in just a little bit. We have this cute little present so you can make birthday cards with these geese, and these adorable little party hats that you can add onto the geese too. We have the larger and smaller so it fits all of them, and then the sweetest little hat with a flower on it that is just adorable on these geese. We have these fun little kind of sound lines that you can put around the geese so that it looks like they're saying honk. And then we have this super cute little speech bubble and all of these fun phrases that you can add into it. We have honk honk hooray, which is one of my favorites. We have the honk you. We have honk, just plain honk, of course. We have me gustas, which means I like you. So cute. Then we also have your golden, which goes along with the whole golden egg thing. And let's have a gander. We have Once Upon a Time, which is perfect for all the book items. And then we have these cute little phrases that you can add in that book. We have fairy tales, silly jokes, and egg facts, and those all fit in that single book. And we also have the phrase nice egg. Then we have some large mix and match sentiments. So we have happy birthday, and then we also have I like you, and then after those you can add you silly goose. So happy birthday you silly goose, or I like you silly goose, which is so cute and fun. And then we have honk if it's your birthday, which I love that one too. The sentiments in this set are just so adorable and fun. So speaking of sentiments, we're going to take a look at the Silly Goose sentiment add-on, and it has these really cute phrases like may your day be golden, which is so fun with the whole golden egg thing. We also have may your day be flappy, or may your day be egg-mazing. So many fun puns. And then may your day be goose-tastic. And then we also have your, and then you can mix and match it with some separate things. So you're a good egg, which is so cute. Or also you're my favorite egghead, which is really fun as well. And then we have the word smile, and you can mix and match these things with the other set. So here you could do smile if it's your birthday, or smile you silly goose, which is so super cute and so much fun. And of course, we have an exclamation point that you can add to the end of any of these phrases. So now that we've stamped out all of these cute stamps, we're going to be adding some color with Copic markers. You could use markers, watercolor, color pencils, or coloring stencils too, and I'll show you the coloring stencils in a little bit. The thing that I love about these geese is that they're very, very easy to color. On these first geese, I used a very, very light kind of yellow-red color, which is almost like a light brown, and I thought that was just so pretty on them. It just gives them a little extra something. You can do it with light browns or light grays. You can keep it really simple or make it a little bit more complicated. So here on this goose, you can see I'm just going to go around with a warm gray marker, and then I'm going to bring in, that was W1, I'm going to bring in a really light warm gray with W00 and just blend out the edges of those lines, and then I can add some nice bright orange and yellow for his beak and feet and some little rosy cheeks. Now on this guy, I use my W0 and I just lined the inside black edges. I didn't blend it out at all, and I think it looks so great. And so I love how quick and easy these are to color, and they look so beautiful with just a little bit of a little line around them. And I did the same thing here with a really light brown marker. I just added it around the edges and I blended it out with a colorless blender. So you could blend it or not, and it all looks amazing. You can see all 4 different styles there, and it looks so much fun. Now, I absolutely love the little goose that's reading to the little baby. I think it's so sweet, and it's a perfect match to our awesome little woodland library from last year. So all of these fun book items that we have are a perfect match to mix and match with our new geese that are reading the book. So I love that we have so many characters that can mix and match with the little woodland library. Now here I'm going to take some browns and just add them onto the sign, which I think looks so super cute. And then here with the hats and the books are a really fun way to add color. You can match your pattern paper, or you could match whatever someone's favorite colors are and bring them in. And that little hat, when you put it on top of the goose, it is just the cutest thing ever. Oh my gosh. And so here I'm bringing in some of the colors that I used on the books with the reading characters. That way everything's going to match. So I'm using the same colors on the books as I'm using on the hats, and everything's going to look so pretty all together. And so I'm using some nice turquoise colors on the hats and the presents and the books. And then I'm bringing in those wire markers that I used for the geese to be a little bit of orange on the books, because why not? That way everything's going to blend together. We're going to bring in some nice peachy pinks there, and then just add a little bit of light blue to the inside of that speech bubble to give it a little bit of a pop. Now here are the coloring stencils, and this is a set of 3 coloring stencils. All of our coloring stencils are sized to the same size as the stamp set so that they're really easy to store together. All you need to do is just line it up with your stamped image and then just brush on some ink. Here I'm using some sugar cookie ink, which is a very light brown, and I'm just brushing it on the edge just a little bit, just to add a little bit of color onto the goose. Then I can work my way down the stencil, line up the beak and the feet, and then add some orange to this. And here I'm using the color Carrot, and you can see just how pretty this is looking. Now here for these other geese here, I'm going to use that same carrot ink onto their feet and to their beaks. And you can see that I'm just adding it darker on one side and lighter on the other. I just let it run off my brush, and that gives it that really beautiful shaded look. Now for this book here, I am going to be bringing in some mermaid ink, which is a really nice bright turquoise. And then I'm going to use some of that mermaid ink to add a little bit more detail there onto the spine of the book. And then I'm just going to bring in a really pretty purple, some fresh lavender for the rest of the details of the book. Now you could leave the geese just like that. You don't necessarily need to add color to them, but I'm going to add some color in just a bit. So I think they look super cute just as plain white geese. You can see they're so fun. You can see the little bit of brown on the one on the right, or no color on the one on the left. Or you can bring that in and add some color. And in this case, I'm going to use some manatee ink, which is a really nice light gray. So light brown, light gray, whatever you have in your stash, it's going to look beautiful on these geese. And so here you can see I'm just kind of going just on the edges. I'm not covering the whole goose, just a little bit. And look how beautiful. I love the coloring stencils. They're so soft and gorgeous. I just love how quick and easy and fun they are to use. I just love coloring in these little critters. And of course, here we have the coordinating dies, and all you need to do is take them and line them up with your stamped images. You can hold them in place with some low tack tape, and then we'll run it through the die cut machine, and you'll have perfectly cut out images every time. And here are all of the images from the set. I love that there are so many images so that you can mix and match them to create the perfect card. You can create so many different types of cards with these guys. I love the idea of a birthday card with the birthday hats. You can create general smile happy cards. You can also do fun reading theme cards. There's so many ways to mix and match these. I'm even going to show you how to create a fall card with these super cute geese too. And I love how you can mix and match so many of the different elements. You can bring in the nest with the egg, the books, the sign. It's so much fun. And now it's finally time to start creating with these awesome geese. And here is our riverside backdrop die. It's meant to be a river, but today we're going to turn it into a road. And I am recreating a card by Elena, and thank you so much, Elena. This card was so much fun to create. So here I have what should be the river, and we're going to turn it into a road with our brick stencil. We're actually going to be making a yellow brick road. And so I'm going to take this brick stencil and just line it right up over this die cut. And we're going to mix 2 different of colors of ink to create the road. And so I'm going to be using some lemonade ink and some number 2 pencil ink. And we're going to start off with the lemonade ink. That's the lighter yellow color. And we're just going to brush it right over top of this stencil to create that really cool brick texture onto this piece, turning that river into a road. Then we're going to bring in the darker yellow to add some dimension. And you can see it's not even. That's how it's going to look even more like a brick road. So you want darker spots and lighter spots. Being imperfect is what's going to make it look just amazing. So we're going to lift up that stencil, and the lines in between the bricks were a bit too stark white for me. So I'm going to bring in that lighter yellow, which was lemonade, and just go over that. And you can see it just kind of blends it in and makes the difference between the gaps between the bricks and the bricks not so stark. And so now that we have our super cute road, we need to add some detail to the rest of this riverside backdrop die. And so here you can see we've got the grassy part of this die. And so we're going to be creating a fun grassy texture onto this. And we're using celery stick ink and freshly cut grass ink. So a light color green and kind of a medium green. I'm starting over with the lightest green first, and then just using the darkest green on the edges there to give it a nice kind of shadow right around the edges where the brick road is going to meet the grass. Then to add some texture, I'm going to smear the darker ink, the freshly cut grass, onto an acrylic block, and I'm just going to spray like a little drop of water on there, mix it up with my paintbrush. I have a little paintbrush here, pick up some of that paint and just tap it. You'll see I tried it off to the side, and now I'm going to tap these little green splatters all around, and this texture is going to make the grass feel really, really special. I love how quick and easy to do and how beautiful it looks. And here you can see our scene start to come together. So we have that beautiful grass and now our yellow brick road. And the last thing that we need is the sky. So I die cut that same backdrop from some mermaid cardstock. I'm going to save that river piece for another card, but I'm going to use the sky piece for this one. And I'm just blending on some kiddie pool inks and some mermaid inks on here just to give it a little bit of texture since we had so much ink blending on our road and on the grass. And I like to do this so that everything matches nicely. And then now we can bring all of our pieces together. So I'm going to take out a standard size card base that's 5.5 by 4.25. That's the same size as this backdrop die cut piece that we created. And we're going to add some tape runner to the back of this and then just layer that right onto the card piece. Then we can fit in the other pieces just like a puzzle. So we're going to add our yellow brick road. And at this point, I thought the sky looked a bit plain since we had those really cool splatters on the grass and the stencil texture on our road. Well, why don't we add some more splatters, right? So here I'm going to take out some white paint. This is Copic white paint, but any white acrylic paint would do. And I'm just going to add a little bit of water to it. And then I'm going to tap my paintbrush so that I can create these really great splatters onto the sky that's going to kind of feel like clouds. Once this piece was all dry, then I can add it into the sky here. So I'm going to add some tape runner right there. We're going to fit this piece in as well. And I love this inlaid die cut look. I think it just is so pretty and the perfect scene for our geese. Now we're going to add some clouds into the sky, and this is from the All the Clouds stamp set. And I love this stamp set because it has all the clouds. It has all these different sizes, and we're going to mix and match these onto our backdrop. I like to have the edges of the clouds going off of the card. That way it looks like the sky just keeps going and going. So we can add those on and then just trim off any of the excess. I got some ink on the outside of this frame. So what I'm going to do is just take our stitched rectangle frame dies and I'm going to die cut the largest one, and it's the perfect size to match up with all of our backdrop dies. And so we're going to add some liquid glue with the glue tube here, and then we can go ahead and take that frame and layer that over to the top. And I like that it's going to kind of cover up the edges of the clouds too, and it really makes the whole thing look nice and finished. The perfect storybook waiting for some characters to add on to it. And so for those characters, of course, we're going to use our Silly Goose stamp set. And here you can see these cute little geese that we have stamped and colored. I love the little books and everything. And then here we're going to take out a brand new stamp set, which is our Spring Basket Fall add-on. I love those mushrooms from the set. It's going to be the perfect scene builder. I also took out our Capybaras add-on stamp set because it had these cute little grasses in it. But that's a great way to shop your stash for fun little scene builders like grasses and leaves, or something cute like those awesome new mushrooms from the fall basket. I'm also going to take a white gel pen and just add some cute little white gel pen details. I like to put a little white gel pen in the rosy cheek and just add little lines around the curves of the critters and onto the mushrooms and the books. Next, I'm going to be adding a lot of foam squares. I'm going to add a lot of pop to all of these cute little scene builders and also the geese. And so we're going to add the Mother Goose story time at the top of the road. So it looks like you follow the sign to go down the road to this cute little story time. And this little excited goose here, he's going to be holding a stack of books, which I think is just adorable. And then there's a little baby goose that's hanging out with this guy up there. And then we're going to go ahead and create these fun little elements. So we're going to take those little mushrooms that are meant to fit inside of our basket, our spring basket stamp set. We're going to layer them behind some other things. So here we're going to add that cute little nest with the egg in it, and we're going to layer another little egg inside of there. And then we're going to also add a little piece of grass to the back of this too. And it's fun to kind of layer your little scene builder pieces like this into like a little cluster of items, and then you can add that onto your card. And so here we're just going to add a little foam square on the back and layer that into the grass. And I think that looks so, so pretty. Now for this next mushroom, I'm just going to trim off this little bottom piece. That bottom piece is so that it's easy to put in the basket, but to use it as a scene builder, you can just trim it right off, which I love. And so we're going to trim that off, and you'll see that we can add it right on the edge of the road as if the mushroom and grasses are growing on the edge of the road, and I think that is such a cool look. Next up, I'm going to work on the sentiment. I want there to be a sentiment banner at the bottom, and I wasn't sure where else to put all of my cute characters until I had that stamped out. And so we're going to be using the Silly Goose sentiment add-on stamp set, and we're going to use the phrase, "May your day be golden," which I think is so cute. And so I'm going to line those up. They're all on the same size rectangular bases, which means they're really easy to line up with each other. I can pick it up with my block, and we're going to be stamping on some of the speckled eggshell paper. It's a kind of off-white color with some fun texture on it, which is so pretty, and I think it matches our geese in such a nice way. And so here I'm going to line up a sentiment banner die with it, and the die was a bit long, but that's okay. We can run it through the die cut machine and then just shift it over and line it up again to create a custom size banner. So as soon as that's lined up where it's even on both sides, again I can use my low tack tape to hold it in place, and then we'll run it through the die cut machine and we'll have this really great banner that we can add to the bottom of the card. And so we're going to add some tape runner onto that and layer that at the bottom, almost so that it looks like a little plaque at the end of a frame. Do you know what I mean? I really wanted it to look like this fun, just like storybook image with that cute little plaque at the bottom. So here we have that adorable hat. We're going to add it onto the reading ducks, and then we're going to add those cute little grasses. We're going to tuck them behind the banner. Again, any kind of fun scene builder things that you have in your stash would look super cute on a card like this. And so here we're going to add some foam squares onto our geese and then layer them right in the center of the card. I feel like the mom reading to the baby is kind of the focal image, and everything around them is everybody coming to hear the stories. We're going to add another cute little goose there, and then of course she needs a stack of book next to her because she's going to be reading all day, right? And so we're going to add some stacks of books. And you can see I kind of like talk to myself. I tell the story to myself of what's happening in this picture so that I can kind of help create the scene, and it just makes it really fun. It's just joyful, you know? So here I'm going to add the books here behind the mushrooms, or I mean in front of the mushrooms, and then the little geese. Again, making like a little cluster of items that we can glue together, and then we're going to add those on with some foam squares there for a nice pop. And look at this scene. I mean, this makes me smile. Look how cute this is. I just can't. It's just so adorable. Such a joy to make. I absolutely love these cute little geese. Now, I always love a unique birthday card, and so we're going to be creating that with these geese now. So here I have some Kitty Pool ink, which is a really nice light ink, and I have a standard size card base that's 5.5 by 4.25. And I'm just going to be adding that ink to the middle of this card. I'm not filling up the whole area. I'm just kind of creating like this blob of ink in the middle to give it this kind of airy, pretty look. And right now I am recreating a card by Tammy, so thank you so much, Tammy. And of course, we're going to take out our Silly Goose stamp set, and we're going to be using the Happy Birthday, You Silly Goose, which I think is so much fun. I always call my son Silly Goose, so I think this is just adorable. And we're going to stamp that in some black licorice ink, and I'm going to create kind of word fetty. Jen Shirkus loves to create word fetty on cards, and I think it looks so cute. And so what we're going to do is just stamp that out on our paper here and just trim it with the paper trimmer. You could use your scissors too, but I, for some reason, am incapable of cutting a straight line, so I use my paper trimmer. And so I'm just going to trim these little pieces out with a little kind of white border around them like this, and that's going to be our fun little word fetty. Then there's that fun speech bubble that's in the stamp set, and we're going to stamp one of the phrases in it, and of course it's going to be the honk honk hooray one because that one's the one that just makes me smile the most. Now here is our brand new favorite flannel fall paper. This paper is gorgeous. It looks like fabric. It is so pretty. And there's this really pretty rainbowy paper in that. And so I'm going to die cut that with the largest of the stitch rectangles, which is 5.5 by 4.25. And then I'm going to take an outside in stitch rectangle and layer it here in the middle to create a fun window frame. And so what that's going to give me is it's going to give me this inner rectangle I can use on a different card, and it also gives me a stitch detail around the openings. So now I have this fun little stitch frame that I can layer onto the piece that we inked at the beginning. Now here I'm going to add some foam squares all around this frame so that we can have a nice little pop so that it feels kind of like a little shadow box. And we're going to layer that right onto the card base. And you can see that that Kitty Pool ink just adds that perfect little patch of color to create our scene on. So here I have our super cute Silly Goose stamp set again and a bunch of geese that we are going to mix and match together. I'm also going to take out the really high five stamp set for some balloons. You can also take a look at the All the Smile stamp set for some really great balloons too. And then this is our Cake It Easy add-on. This Cake It Easy set just came out in the summer and it has the perfect cakes that you can use on their own, or you can also mix and match them with their favorite critters. And so that's what we're going to be doing here. So the first thing that we're going to do is stack our cake here. This is a double layered cake here, which is so cute. So we're going to add the two cake pieces here and then also the candles over top so that it looks like the geese are ready to blow out the candles and wish a happy birthday. And then we're going to add some foam squares to the back of these geese because this is a nice clean and simple card, and adding foam squares is going to give it this fun pop in our cute little frame. And so we're going to add the cake here and then we're going to start layering the geese around the cake. And of course you could use your favorite geese all around the cake to create this really fun birthday card. And so we've got this cute guy here. Then we're going to add some foam squares to the little one that's kind of bending down. This one's really cute for looking into the egg, but I think it's also really fun, like almost like he's about to eat the cake, which is really fun. And we're going to add this cute little baby goose there as well. And at this point I realized I wanted to add some white gel pen lines. So I'm going to go through and add a little white dot to the little rosy cheeks and add some detail onto their beaks and feet, and then also onto the cake. I really like it on the icing because it really makes the icing kind of pop, and I love these little white gel pen lines. They kind of give a fun cartoony feel. For the balloons, when Tammy added some white gel pen lines, she did this really fun look that I was so excited to try, and I think I'm going to start adding this to everything. She added a little white gel pen line, and then she added almost like the look of little stars here. So she did like little X's, or you can do kind of like a little T shape and create that fun little kind of shine marks that are a little special. You can add little dots and little kind of stars and things to your die cut images, and I think that looks really cute, especially on the balloons. So we're going to add our fun little speech bubble on there, and then I'm going to add some foam strips onto those word fetty pieces. And this is a really fun way to add a sentiment, especially if you've already created your card and you're worried about stamping directly onto like an inked piece or something. The word fetty I think looks so cute. Here I'm going to use my liquid glue to add some little party hats onto the geese. There's something about the party hats, I feel like it makes the whole card. Like once you add the party hats, it's a real party, right? It's just so cute and fun. And then right then, my favorite helper Miles came to share some things he'd been working on. Miles absolutely loves learning all the countries and the flags, and so he created flags and then turned them into cute little happy people with smiley faces and arms and legs, which I thought was such a fun idea. He made Guatemala and Portugal's flag, and oh my gosh, I mean, look how fun and cute that is. I love how creative it is. And so now we're going to start layering the rest of our pieces. So I'm going to layer those two balloons together and we'll give them some pop. And then we're going to add the balloon strings. I'm going to add those on with just some tape runners so that they're flat and tuck them behind the wing of the goose so that it looks like that kind of crazy happy goose is holding on to the balloons. And now our card is all done. It's so super cute, and I wanted to show you a comparison to Tammy's card. So this is both using the new Favorite Flannel fall paper, but on Tammy she used the blue paper, and on ours we used the more rainbowy paper. And what I love about this design of this card is you can mix and match any of these papers on it and it would look absolutely beautiful. So you could kind of customize it to the recipient based on which paper you would pick, but you could use this same design, which I think is so much fun. And then last but not least, I had to add a little extra something to this card. So we have our brand new Silly Goose washi tape, and I thought it would be the perfect match for the inside of this card. So the sweet washi tape, it is so cute and sweet. And so we're going to layer these fun little geese on the inside of the card. And then I'm also going to stamp something on the inside of the card too, because I love the sentiments in the stamp set so much. I wanted to stamp the honk of it's your birthday in the inside since it kind of goes along with the honk honk hooray on the outside of the card. And so I stamped that on the inside of the card, and it's fun to add a little decoration to the inside so that when the recipient gets it, they'll get this really fun surprise and you can write your message. And I think it's just so super cute and fun. Now that this card is all done, it's time to take a look at the brand new Woodgrain stencil. I love this stencil. It is a one-step stencil and so super easy to use. So I think it's just absolutely gorgeous. I love that you can add a background, or you could also add some texture to a die cut piece as well. But here I have some kraft cardstock that's cut to 5.5 by 4.25, and I'm going to layer the stencil right on top, and we're going to be using some dough ink. I really like the look of the dough ink on the kraft paper to create a wood grain backdrop. And I was inspired by a card from Lynette from the design team that I thought was just so absolutely beautiful. And so I love how she added this texture with the brown on the kraft cardstock. And so I'm just going to layer right over the wood grain stencil. And if it's not even, that's actually even better. The more uneven it is, the more kind of real and wood grainy it's going to look. So we added our whole wood grain on there. And then to me, the trick to make it really look like that aged wood grain look is to add some of that same dough ink around the edges. So I'm just brushing it onto the edges. It's, super kind of uneven, just going around, so it gives it that really beautiful rustic look that is just perfect for fall. I also love that with this you could make that either landscape or portrait and it would look amazing. Now here is our brand new fall leaf border die. I love this border die so much. It comes with the border and also all of these individual leaves that you can layer on top of the border or use on their own. And so here is a bunch of that favorite flannel fall paper, and I went ahead and die cut those leaves from that paper. I'm also going to take this really pretty rainbowy piece here, and I'm cutting a piece that's 1.25 inches high by 4.25 inches across. And so this is going to be a little layer on the bottom of our card. So I'm just going to add that on with some tape runner, and then we're going to start working on that fall leaf border. And that border looks absolutely gorgeous just on its own with that stitching detail. It's so pretty, but I love that you can also layer the leaves on top too. And so I went ahead and die cut way more leaves than what I need, because then I can make more borders with these or layer them onto my cards too on their own. And so here I just kind of was playing around with what order I wanted to do these in, and I'm just going to start layering them on to the border so I can kind of see what's going to look good. Then once I know the exact order that I want all these colors to be in, I'm going to use some of my liquid glue here. This is the larger glue tube size, which I really like too. And I'm just going to layer some liquid glue on there and then layer these cute little leaves on top. And I love the leaves cut out of the pattern paper. I think it adds so much texture. Now this is the point where I realized, oops, that doesn't look very good. It was like so much rainbow paper with rainbow leaves and I couldn't really see the leaves. So I thought, well, that's okay. I'll just pick out a different paper from the favorite flannel collection so that it'll still coordinate. So I picked out the blue paper and I cut a piece the same size, and I'm just going to tape it right over top. Now, before I did that, I made sure that it looked good. And you can see now when I layer the leaves over that they look a lot better. So it's one of those things where you're like, oh, the idea was fun because it was like rainbow, but you really couldn't see the leaves at all. So I really like how the blue paper looks. And I think the blue in the wood grain is really pretty too. And I like that the leaves pop much better. And then I thought I'd add some foam square behind the leaves too, just so that that gave him a nice pop as well. And then I'm going to layer that right over the border of where the pattern paper meets our stenciled piece. And then all we need to do is just trim off the extra on the sides so that it looks like this nice continuous fall leaf border. Now, I really love this design that Lynette did. She ended up putting some pumpkins on her card, which I think is so super cute. But this design here is perfect for adding any of your favorite images. And of course, I had to have my favorite happy little goose here. He's just so cute. And so I went ahead and added some foam squares to the back. And I love him with his feathers up because I thought it'd be cute to make it look like he was throwing fall leaves up in the air. And I think these geese are so cute on fall cards. So I brought back those leaves that we die cut earlier, and I'm just kind of playing around to see what's going to look good. And then once I have them in nice placement, I can just add some foam squares to the back of the leaves so that it looks like he kind of threw some leaves up in the air, and I just think it's just absolutely adorable. Now, next for the sentiment, I'm going to be using our brand new Scripty Fall die. And I'm also going to be using some stamps here from our brand new Henry's Build a Sentiment Fall as well. Now, I cut the fall out of that same kraft cardstock, and I'm just going over it with some dough ink so that it's going to match that ink blending, because I like the idea of this piece standing out a little bit but kind of blending into the wood grain. And you can see there how pretty that's going to look. Then I'm going to go ahead and stamp the word hello that is in that fall set. There are so many cute phrases in this Henry Build a Sentiment Fall. There's the stamp set and the die, but all I really needed here was a hello fall. There's also happy fall, and there's also happy fall y'all. So there's a bunch of fun, cute things so that you can mix and match the stamp phrases with the die cut phrase, which I think always looks so pretty. And I went ahead and die cut that scripty fall again out of some more kraft cardstock, and I'm going to stack all of these just to give it a little bit of height. I'm going to layer some liquid glue onto the scripty fall piece, and then I'll layer two of the plain ones here, and then we'll add some more liquid glue and we'll add the one that we inked earlier. And this will just give it a little bit of height on the card, which I think is going to look really nice. Next, I'm going to take the word hello, which you can see there I trimmed on the paper trimmer, and I kind of added an extra bit of kind of white cardstock at the end of it there because I want it to look like it's coming out of the word fall. So I'm going to layer it where I think it's going to look nice, and then just take a pencil and just line the inside part of that word fall so that I know where to cut. And then when I cut it, I'm just going to cut on the inside of that line so that I know it's going to layer behind there perfectly. And look how cute that's going to look. So we're going to add some tape runner to the back of this scripty fall word, and then we can add the word hello right on there. And I think that is so fun. I think it'd be fun to do with the word happy as well. I think it just looks really cute. And then now we can just add some more tape runner to the back of that and then layer this sentiment. So we have the hello fall with the goose throwing up the leaves, and I think this is so cute. It was a quick and easy card to make, and it just makes me smile. And then next we have a standard size card base at 5.5 by 4.25, and of course my helper Miles here helping me make the card. We're going to add some tape runner onto that, and then we can just layer this awesome panel right on top, and this cute and simple card is all done. Oh my gosh, I just love it so much. It's so super cute. And next up, Shari is going to wow you with this adorable booked themed card. I love how you can match the Silly Goose with all of our awesome book themed items. So take it away, Shari.
So the card I'm creating today has a book kind of Mother Goose theme to it. So I'm using the book collection to incorporate with my Silly Goose images. So you can see all of my images are colored and cut out with the coordinating dies. And then I've also cut a few little books here, and I'm just going to assemble these that need to be layered together. So I have a book that is Guava Cardstock that I'm layering over some speckled eggshell to show through those little openings. I also have this book that you see from the side, which is cut from speckled eggshell and mermaid cardstock. And then I also have this sunflower cardstock book, and I just added some little details to the stripes of that book. For the background of this card, I'm using some spiffy speckles paper to create the sky for my little scene. And I've just cut this to 4.5, or excuse me, 4.25 by 5.5. And then I am going to use the new Favorite Flannel Fall Petite Paper Pack to use this green plaid for my grass. I love this new paper pack. It is one of my favorites. And I'm just trimming this 6-inch piece down to be 5.5. Now I cut off both sides so that my plaid was nice and even. And I really like to do that with this orthogonal plaid. For the diagonal, I don't notice it as much, but with this one that is straight, I really notice when it's kind of off, especially with those darker stripes. So that's just a little tip from me. Now the sentiment comes from the Silly Goose Sentiments add-on set, and it says, "You're my favorite egghead." And actually, this stripe is really great for lining up sentiments because the grid is already there and you can make sure it's nice and straight. Now, I always like to stamp my sentiment first and then die cut the top with my border die. And in this case, I'm using the Grassy border die, and I'm just lining that up. Again, that grid really helps make sure it's nice and straight, and I'll run that through my die cut machine. Now, it always helps to kind of add a little bit of ink to the top of a die cut like this. It really makes it pop against a background piece of pattern paper. So I have some distress ink and peeled paint and a small blending brush, and I'm just dusting those blades of grass with that green ink. And this kind of makes that grassy edge stand out a bit more. While I am ink blending and dusting things, I'm pulling out some merman ink, and I'm just going over the edges of this spiffy speckles paper that will be my sky. I just think that it makes it kind of framed up a little better when you color the edges like this. And I don't need to worry about the bottom because that grass is going to be down there at the bottom and you won't see it anyway. So I will go ahead and put this piece of pattern paper onto my card base. And then I can add my grass. And for my grass, I am putting some strips of foam adhesive across the back. I did 2, so it's really nice and supported. And it will be popped up off that background for some really fun dimension. I'm going to be popping up all of my images and my books as well, so everything will have dimension off of that spiffy speckles sky. So I'm starting with my books. Now this one is going to overlap the grass a little bit, but I realized I actually needed to add some foam squares to it as well. So I put the adhesive along the bottom, but I need to support the top. So I'm just going to pop this off, add those foam squares at the top, because of course there is no foam underneath the blades of grass. And then I can just put this back in place. So I'm centering up that book. Then I will add the next book right on top. And I'm creating a little stack of books for my goose to sit on and read a story. So this stack of books I know is much larger than the geese, but what this reminded me of are works of art that you see like in a park that are just really oversized everyday objects, like a spoon or an eraser. And in this case, it's a stack of books. And this little goose has crawled up on top to have a stage to read a story to everybody. So I have my little sign and I stamped in it Mother Goose Story Time. It's pointing over to the books where the story time is going to happen. I'm adding this little stack of books that is from the Silly Goose stamp set. And I'm just adding a dot of glue on the bottom of my sign where it touches the grass. Then, of course, I have my goose that's reading the story that's going to be sitting on top of the books. And then I have this guy. He's really excited about story time. That's how I feel about it. I'm going to add a few little details to him once I get all my images on there. So I'm using foam squares for him and a few dots of glue for his feet where it touches the grass. That'll just kind of hold those in place so they won't get caught on anything. And then I have that other little goose that is joining him down here in the grass. And again, I will add a dot of glue to the bottom of that where it touches the grass too. Now I felt like my sky was a little blank and needed to be filled in a little bit, so I pulled out the Puffy cloud frames. I really like using these clouds when you want to fill in but you don't want giant pops of white, because I really love these kind of simple outlines that give you a cloud but they don't just overtake your card with a bunch of white. And so I'm adding one of each size to my sky, and I like to overhang them off the edges just a little bit, especially that big one, and I will just trim off where that overlaps, so at the top there and then on the side. So now that all of my images and my die cuts are on there, I am using some Hippo ink to add some little stamped details. So we have the little sound marks coming out of that very excited goose. I am also going to stamp that little stamp that says honk, which I think is really funny. And I decided to add a little Mother Goose hat to my goose that is reading a story. So I stamped that, colored it, and cut it out with the coordinating dies. And that is the perfect finishing touch to this card, I think. And here is my finished card. I love how it turned out. I love the colors. I think they're so fun. This would be great for like a back to school or maybe even a baby card, depending on how you use the sentiment.
Oh my goodness, Shari, this card is so cute. I absolutely love the storybook theme. It is so sweet. And speaking of storybook theme, next up we have some incredible cards by the design team. And this one by Grace made me smile so much. I love that she has the little thought bubble and you can tell what the story they're telling is the Cinderella story. Isn't that just the sweetest thing ever? I absolutely love it. It just makes me smile. And next up we have a card by Audrey that is the perfect birthday card. It just is so adorable and I love her color combo so much. This card here by Anea is so sweet. It says, "Love ya, you silly goose," and I think it's just adorable with the little goose on top of the back of the other one. And then here is the Woodgrain stencil card that Lynette made that inspired me to make mine. I think it's so cute using our new Pick of the Patch add-on. This card here by Megan, oh my gosh, isn't it just beautiful? I love the "May Your Day Be Golden" with the die cut letters. It's just so sweet and stunning. This card here by Tammy is so much fun. It is a landscape version of her other birthday card and it just makes me smile. And then here is the card by Elena that inspired me to make mine today. I love the yellow brick road and the whole storybook feel of the whole thing. This card by Elise is so sweet. I love the pink and orange paper and how she framed with a fun scallop circle frame. Such a perfect birthday card. This card by Melissa is so pretty. I love the wood grain texture that she added to her Happy Fall card with those fun tree branches. This card by Mindy is so much fun. I love the background that she created and how she stacked up the books so high. It's just adorable. And this card also by Mindy is so sweet. I love that wood grain behind the die cut pumpkin and leaves. It's just perfect for fall. This card by Maureen is so pretty. I love the square card and this beautiful scene that she created with all of the geese. And then this card by Lynette is too fun. I love all the shades of pink. It just makes me smile. So we cannot wait to see all of your Silly Goose cards, so make sure to share them with us. Thank you so much for watching today, and I hope you have an absolutely amazing day. Bye!